Okay, guys, so welcome back to our second session. This is the recorded part of the activities. So I'm hoping that you have all joined the e-classroom. Well, not that I'm hoping that you have. I know I've put you into the e-classroom, and this is what the e-classroom looks like. Let me turn off editing so it'll look a little more along the lines of what you guys would be seeing. All right, so in the first block, we have some student resources and the meeting link. This will remain the same. I'll just shift the time to 5:30 so that we will be meeting from 5:30 moving forward. And this is the WhatsApp chat group link that you could utilize to join the WhatsApp chat group. Okay, so you have a couple of textbooks here for use. Um, the required one is the first one, and all the others are also useful for you to be able to read through and get some additional information. There's a reference dictionary, an economic dictionary that's there for your use as well. And we have a group pair evaluation form that's only going to be used based upon what happens in relation to certain things. And we have what we're going to be looking at now. Let me make this a little bigger. The course outline and course schedule. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to come in and look at the rest of the blocks to see what is what and how things are working and what things look like and so on. All right. Okay, so let's go look at um, the course schedule for this semester. I'm going to bring this up here. All right. So this is the course. It's the course outline and everything all together. Included in it is a course schedule. You guys are seeing this. Is it large enough for you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Okay, good. All right, so it has all the current information in terms of the CRN, the time and date, and so on. You all can go through this in more detail on your own. Um, the number of assessments. So there are, of course, one of the things that people are always concerned with was, how the marks are allocated and what activities are associated with actual marks. So there are the first thing for 30% of your final grade. There are 7 out of 8 unit quizzes, which means there are 8 quizzes altogether, of which I'll take your best 7 scores. Now, um, the way I've done it is that the quizzes are already open, and each unit has its own quiz, um, and it's weighted well, it's made up of 10 multiple choice questions. And in most instances, you have at least 2 attempts at the quiz for you to be able to try and improve your score. The idea here is to try and get as much, um, try and get 10 out of 10 as much as you can, and we'll look at the strategies for working on that. We have an online forum discussion, 5% weighting, and that is associated with the individual research paper, because what we've done in this instance is that we've taken some of the questions from your first assignment and put it into the online discussion forum, for you to try and get a jump start on working on that individual research paper. So collectively, they both are the same instrument, but some of it is weighted at 5% for the discussion element that takes place and 15% for the balance of the response for the rest of the questions from it. So they kind of tie to each other. The idea here is to give you an idea of the type of depth and quality of work and citation requirements for the assignment that you'll be dealing with. And we'll come back to that whole idea of citation in a little bit as well. So that is the first 3 assignments. That is 50% of your final work there. As you can see, 30 by 5 plus 15 gives you 30. Then you have individual article journal, and that is The instructions for that is going to be that you have to find an article from the newspapers or from some sort of journal that is relevant to economics and has some economic content in it, and you'll write a analysis of that up and submit it as an assignment. I have to approve your journals, so sorry, I have to approve the articles that you're going to utilize for the research. So you need to share with me either on the WhatsApp chat group or via email, and I would have to approve your documents or the article that you want to utilize, just to make sure that things stay within it, because it has to be related to microeconomics, which might be a little bit of a challenge based upon the nature of how articles are usually written in terms of this. But the idea is for you to be able to see in the real world around us the application of microeconomic concepts, um, and, and for you to kind of look at how it works in the real world. Then we have the last assignment here, which is really broken into two parts. Again, it's weighted as 30% collectively. It's one group paper that we're going to work on. It's called a country analysis. We'll choose a country as a group and you'll do some research on it. And there are two aspects. You'll write a research paper about it, but you will also present your findings. So the presentation element is done as a group as well, and that's weighted as a 10% exercise. And the research paper that you would have written up would be weighted at 20%. So those are the total number of assessments that we have for the assignment. Any questions so far? We're going to put people into groups today for you all to start your work in relation to that. So we'll see how that works out. But we'll get into more details about the assignments as we move forward. So there's a combination of individual work and group work that makes up the assessments for the the work that we're looking at. Devnesh, this looks familiar?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see the approach does not change. Make sense?
Yes, sir. The same man.
Right. Did you by chance work on the individual research paper prior?
Not with you, sir. I think I did that with Carlton Sogrim.
Right, but it'll be a similar instrument.
All right, cool.
So you get an opportunity to kind of look back on things and see how it's going.
Yeah, let's start there.
All right. Okay, so I also have my communication information here, my mobile number, which you already have, my email addresses. You'd see the last one is listed only as emergency only. But primarily, all of your assignments and everything is going to be submitted on the e-classroom, so you don't necessarily need my emails and stuff like that. But if you do need to communicate with me in a rush, your best bet is via WhatsApp, because then you could send me a private message or group message to let me know. And if we want to meet, we could meet via Teams, Google Meet, or even simply I'll call you on WhatsApp or you call me on WhatsApp and we have a chat in relation to whatever issue or concerns that you have. I do have a limitation in terms of you know, giving me some free time on Sundays if you can. But if you need some urgent matters, just send me a message and I'll see what I can do and try and respond to you in a timely fashion. I do have other classes on other nights and other days, so my time is really going to be you're going that's why it's easier to just put a note into the WhatsApp, and when I get the chance I could respond to it, um, or call you if necessary, to follow up on it. All right, guys. That's why I say, WhatsApp messages can be sent anytime, any day, but my response will occur during a reasonable time frame that I can work in. Okay. All right. The course description, you all could go through this on your own in terms of how it's arranged. This is a flow diagram of how the course looks, or what it's a visual representation of how the what's going to be done in the course. And for those of you who've done microeconomics before, you'll see some familiar terms. why we're doing it. Um, and remember, this is a prerequisite course for others. There are learning outcomes that are identified here um, for, you know, so that when we do the content is linked to these learning outcomes. They're given these codes to indicate what levels and what aptitudes that they're looking at. So you'd see a lot of K values. K values mean that we have, oh, Gabriel. Hi, Gabriel, is it?
Yes, I read.
You reach? All right.
Yes, sir.
So Gabriel is Gabriel, right? Nayak?
Gabrielle.
Gabriel, Nayak. All right, let me put you present. All right, so Gabriel, you this is your second semester with us, so second year?
This is my second semester of my first year.
First year, second semester, all right. What program are you doing?
Business admin AAS.
All right, and do you have any previous experience with economics?
No, sir.
All right, so this is brand new stuff for you. Okay, cool. All right, we'll take that into consideration. All right, Tyrese, I see your hand is up. Is it a question you want to ask?
Yes, I want to ask about the journals. This is a simple question. If the articles are like foreign or local, strictly
They
local.
can be international, regional, or local,
Mm-hmm.
but they have to be, as I said, there must be some microeconomic content from
All
it.
right, okay.
All right, so that's why I want to see the article to approve it. All right, so Nayak, you
Okay.
just came in, so we're talking about the assignments and stuff that I'm looking at. So feel free to raise your hand if you have a question that you want to ask. Anything else, Mr. Bishop?
No, sir. Thank
All
you.
right, so put down your hand for now. All right, thanks. All right, so as I was saying before, you'd see K, A, and S are the precursive type of codes that are listed based on the learning outcomes, and you're going to see a lot of K because of the nature of this course. It's going to be a lot of knowledge-based information. A refers to attitudinal or aptitudinal, and S would be skill levels. All right, so um, that'll be more tactile activities that you get yourself into, an S. All right, so you'd see a fair amount of them. Again, so cognitive, psychomotive, affective domains. So you'd see here the breakdown in the learning outcomes if you are so designed to do so. These are the correlation between the learning outcomes from the course itself to the program that you're in. Primarily, the program that we looked at connecting this to is the BBA entrepreneurship. So you'd see these things are coming up in that program. All right, so that brings us to the assignments. And each assignment focuses on different levels of the learning outcomes. And you'd see that the individual research and forum discussion deal with learning outcomes 1 to 3, 6 to 10. All right. It doesn't deal with learning outcome 4 and 5. And if you want to know that, 4 and 5, interpretation and review. That comes in the second assignment because we have interpretation taking place. Review, it doesn't come up here, but so to speak, that is coming. So it kind of breaks down everything that we're doing. So the quizzes that we're looking at, as I said, there are 8, of which 7 are going to be um, taken. They have a variety of learning outcomes that they address. The written project kind of covers across the board because it's utilized as a summative assessment piece. Okay, that brings us to methods of teaching that we're going to be utilizing. We'll go through that in more detail when we go through the e-classroom. This is the course calendar. Now, I don't know for you people who are new, this will not be too critical for you, but for the students who were here last semester, you would recognize that this semester has been changed. Can anybody identify what the change is?
Less
So
weeks.
this semester shorter.
Yes, it's a 12-week semester with week 13 being where your examinations will fall. All right, so yes, that is going to be a bit of a challenge because it means we need to start working on the content of this class really fast. Um, and again, you can't wait for me because the situation is going to be one in which we are pushing forward as fast as we can. All right, now um, the weeks identified here in the course calendar, the topics that you'll be looking at, and the activity, including assessments. So the idea is that we're not going to be meeting like this every week. So I have a planned session for today, which is the 7th, the recording of which we will put up on the system in the e-classroom itself. So for people who missed it can, catch up on what took place during that session. I don't plan to have one next week, though that can change based upon, people's how people feel about whether or not they want to meet or not. I have a planned session for the 21st of September to kind of touch back with you guys and find out how things are going and follow up with you. Not to really to do anything per se, but just to check in with you to see what's going on. Now, each unit has in the course outline has the readings assigned for it and a couple of YouTube links for videos that you can look at to help. These are also present on the e-classroom itself. So the course outline and the e-classroom kind of coincide with each other in relation to this. All right, so you'd see some page numbers and stuff like that associated with it. So in essence, you have to do some reading, you have to look at some videos, and then as you understand the material, each unit has a quiz attached to it that you'll be working on. All right, so we have unit 2, unit 3 moving forward. Then we move to week 4, forum discussion deadline. So by the 28th of September, the expectation is that you would have finished or at least made your contributions to the forum discussion, which is an activity that is marked out of 20 marks, but generates a score out of 100 for you. And I'll be able to give you some feedback on that, based upon what your contributions are. So it means that while you're doing the other material here, while you're working on this stuff, you'll also be simultaneously looking at answering the questions that make up the forum discussion because they also come from the first assignment that you have to work on. All right, some of the content from there actually comes from one of the units in the course that we're not going to have um, material available for. So it's forcing you to have to go read about it and utilize it. We'll look at that. Then week 4 to 5, we have consumer behavior. This is a fairly lengthy area. It's likely I will have a session on the 5th of October to check in with people to see how they went through with this area. So again, I'm checking in with you. If needs be, we will have a session on explaining things further if people didn't quite get it. But the idea is that you go through the material week by week, as quickly as you can or as fast as you want. Basically, I'm not stopping you from doing things faster than you want. So some people might want to do sort of like binge through the activities and kind of move ahead and things. So you're free to move as fast as you want in the course. It's just primarily based upon how much time you have available and putting through the work in terms of the readings associated with the course and watching the videos that should help you to understand the content and the information. All right, and I'll show you what it looks like on the e-classroom because there's some additional information there. Unit 6, demand and supply. I can't tell you. Unit demand and supply is like the most critical part of any economic studies. demand and supply are the primary forces that detail everything. And there's no session for this area, but it will come up in the event that people need some additional information. And again, that will be, I'll check in with you all on a weekly basis to see, hey, you all want a session today? Do you all want to meet this evening? That kind of stuff. And it's a yay or nay kind of situation that I'll put on the WhatsApp chat. And if you all don't want a session, but you prefer to work on your own and you're getting through the content, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to do it. If people want to meet in smaller groupings, like, out of the class, maybe 4 or 5 people want to get together and go through some content, fine. We'll just have the class and we'll meet and we'll go through the content that people might be having issues with. All right. Unit 7, sorry, elasticity. 19th of October, we should have a session on that day. Again, it's not carved in stone, it's dependent upon whether or not by the 26th of October, you should have the individual assignment completed and submitted by the 26th of October. That should be done and put in. And I remember that is associated with the forum discussion because the both activities come from the same overall resource. Theory of the firm, 26th and the 2nd of November. This is theory of firm 1. This is a fairly lengthy area, but important again because it starts to talk about the various aspects of how firms operate and how they make decisions. There's an expectation. So everything in yellow is where there's an assignment due date. So the journal assignment is due by the 9th of November. So you should have already, by this, well before here, should have gotten approval for an article, and you would have done your work on the article. We'll look at each instrument in more detail in a little bit. And then we have weeks 10 to 11, theory of firm 2, and there's a quiz in relation to this. There's no planned session for it, as I said, but we can have a session if people desire it, based upon the maturities called for the class. Unit 8 is not assigned to any week because Unit 8 content is going to be evaluated in the first assessment that you all are working on, that first assignment. All of the learning outcomes from that unit are actually part of the questions that you're going to be answering. So it's called, which is why we refer to it as a self-directed unit, because you are going to be working with the material sort of on your own, self-directed. So you're responsible for your learning and based on that. My expectations by November 23rd, we will do a review session and we'll be checking to see what your level of preparedness would be for the group presentations and the group work. Because the following week is when the 30th of November is when the presentations will take place. All right. Now, quizzes. All quizzes are open already and they close on December 24th. All right, which is Christmas Eve. The final project, which is the written element, needs to be uploaded by the same date as well, 24th of December. All right, and for your convenience, what I've done is I've I've summarized all of the assignment due dates on one area because I know it can be a little headachy moving back and forth in a long document like this. So we have the online forum discussion deadline for submissions for that, 28th of September. The individual assignment, 26th of October. The journal assignment, the 9th of November. The group oral presentation, the 30th of November. And the 30th of November is the last teaching class. The week after that is when the college closes, right? Or what you say classes end. And then I'm giving you all from the end of November to Christmas Eve to submit all your the written project, the group written project, and the quizzes will close on that date. Now, I don't expect you'll be doing all your quizzes in December, but you should be doing your quizzes, going through each unit, moving all the way through. That way, by the 24th of December, you should be finished with all of the units from the assignments, from the various unit quizzes that are going on. All right. Any questions so far? Go ahead and open your mic up if you have a question. No? Maybe not? Okay. All right. Reading requirements. These are the two textbooks that we'll be using. They are on the e-classroom. So, and I have other online references that are linked to the unit here. This is the grading system. For those students who are new, you'd recognize that our A is kind of a hard A to get. That's between, you have to score between 90 to 100% to get an A. And to pass this course, you need to score 70 and above, because we have a C minimum grade for you to pass this course, because it's a prerequisite for follow-on class. So we're asking you to be scoring in at least 70 and above in this course for you to maintain your GPA grade point average at a 2.01 higher. So we're looking at least a C average across the board for everybody. So the idea would be that the deadline dates that I have here give you a guide as to when you should be doing your work and submitting work. And hopefully, if you follow these guidelines, you don't find yourself rushing down to the end. It means, however, not procrastinating, which is one of the challenges that all students seem to face, and working in your group activities with each other. And feel free, even if you're having assignment issues or problems with content, ask each other, because we're going to be putting you into groups today, to help each other, which is why one of the questions I asked was, who had previous information with or previous exposure to economics. I'll try to put those, kind of spread them around in the group so that their expertise may be useful in helping other students understand the work. So it kind of puts you in that kind of leadership role in those groups. Well, not really leadership, but more of a mentorship role in the groups that you find yourselves being assigned to. All right. I know I'm not hearing any questions, so let's look at um, the online discussion forum. This is the details of it. So as I said, it's due on the 28th of September, and you're required to answer the questions that are part of the individual assignment. So just to get into the questions themselves, these are the questions here. They're marked out at 20%. Using graphs, illustrate and explain, using graphical illustrations, explain consumer surplus. Despite the disadvantages of price ceilings and price floors, why may governments still choose to implement these two forms of pricing strategies? They come from the overall question on demand, supply, price ceilings and floors, economies and diseconomies of scale, and the shape of the long run cost curve. There's one question here. Explain the general shape of the long run cost curve in relation to economies and diseconomies of scale. Now you can use a diagram in this. You'd have to use diagrams up here, and you could, well, basically, you can use diagrams in explaining any of these questions. It's just a strategy. There's one that requires that you have to use it, and the others that suggest that you can use it. And then, of course, the distribution of income. Briefly explain why demand for concert tickets is considered derived demand. That's a question that I'd like you to tackle. And all of these questions come out of the individual assignment that is for the 15% that comes next. Now, remember that although you're posting this as a discussion in a discussion forum, you still have to provide appropriate citation for the information that you're utilizing to shape your response. Okay, so now I'm using a phrase there that some people might not be familiar with. So let's try and get some ideas here now of who understands what I'm talking about. Now, for those people this is your second semester and stuff, you should be fairly clear and understand what is citation. Yes? Some responses would be nice.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, for new students, this might be a bit of a challenge, which is why you should be doing FYEC 100. That'll give you some background into it. And two, another course that you're likely to be enrolled in this semester is LIBS 130. Um, found, I think it's information fundamental research skills. Those two courses are going to help you with citation. Specifically for this course, we require the use of APA formats of citation, which I think I spoke about here. Students are required to use the APA or Chicago manual style of referencing to be used for citation purposes. Um, so basically what you're going to do is I would recommend you type up your response and then copy and paste it into the forum discussion, or you can upload a, a, a Word document or PDF document into the forum discussion where people are. So it's not only just, so basically you have to respond, you have to put in your own response to the question, and then you have to comment critically on um, Leah Rampasad. Hi, Ms. Rampasad, Leah.
Yeah.
Did I speak to you about your background before?
Yeah, you did.
With the class, introducing yourself, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, cool. Sounds I'm trying to remember. There was a girl who we didn't get to talk to, and that was Miss Ali. She didn't come back in. All right, cool. So we are going through this assignment here. So we're talking about the importance of citation, and then of course there's a notation here about if you are late in your submissions. I'm not going to prevent you from submitting late, but there's a penalty of 1% deduction per day late. Try no panic in relation to that. Just kind of follow on and see what you're getting, how you're going to get things put in. All right. So these are the questions that you're responding to in the forum discussion, and I'll show you. Um, there's a rubric here based on that. Now this is the individual assignment, which is due on the 26th of October. Again, there are instructions about how you're going to format your paper, the type of citation that you're required. There's a link here that I've put in terms of how to use, if you're using MS Word to type up, there's a system or method that you can utilize in referencing to assist you with citation. There's a YouTube channel link here that you should be able to utilize. Now, we have a requirement that you have to submit your assignment through something called Turnitin, and we want you to have a similarity score of no more than 15%. Now, there's a caveat in relation to that, and I'll go through that when the time comes in. All right. Um, so the idea is that you need to cite your sources. Oh, here's Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Welcome back. Miss Ali. Hi, Kelly. Can you open your mic and speak? No, you can't. Oh boy. All right. Okay. All right. So we're going through this individual assignment here. You need to read through this thing to make sure you understand the instructions for your assignments. Okay. Again, we talk about citation here. There is a link in this thing here to a tool you can utilize to get more information about how to use the APA formatting. It's informational. It's not one of those citation machines that you hear about. Um, Now, when you are uploading assignments to the e-classroom, I have a naming protocol for your files. And the naming protocol is your name followed by the name of the course, the code of the course, followed by the CRN, followed by the name of the assignment. And I have an example here. If there was somebody in class called Jane Doe, it'll be Jane Doe, Econ 120, CRN 10541, individual assignment 1, version 1. Why might there be more than one version? Because I might give it back to you and say, hey, this needs to be done over, this needs to be corrected. And I'd like to do that for people. And I'll indicate to you how that happens. All right, so these are the learning objective linkages for the assignment. These are the questions. So remember, in the journal discussion, you were simply looking at part 5 of this entire question. So in fact, what I would recommend for you to do is the same response that you type up for the journal discussion should be the same. You can use in terms of your you can use as the response to the question for the assignment itself. So it's kind of repetitive, but you don't have to redo the work. You're doing the work once, but you're putting the information in two different places. But one is going to be part of an overall assignment that asks you to answer all of these questions here. All right. This one here, you'd identify that that is question 2. That's in the forum discussion. Explain the general shape of the long run in relation to economies and diseconomies of scale, but there are other questions that go with it that make up the scores for this area. And the same thing is for distribution of income. Explain what are the 4 factors of production, provide explanation for the following concepts. You see these here, derived demand, factor income, and then explain why the demand for concert tickets is considered derived demand. So therefore, you'd be able to respond to these questions going across the board there. And again, this element here, part 3 of this question, is the question that you need to be responding to. So in essence, what you're doing is, I would recommend, is start working on the individual assignment and extract those parts for the forum discussion that need to be put there, so that you're kind of working on the both of them simultaneously, and you're getting a little feedback about parts of the assignment as you submit them in the forum discussion. That makes sense to you guys? Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So,
it does.
yeah. So, Devnish, does this look familiar?
No, sir, I wasn't here that long.
You weren't there that long. No, I mean, in
No,
terms
sir.
of your previous class.
The one with Sugrim, I really can't remember.
Wow.
But the one with you, I wasn't there for that long. I had withdraw
No,
before.
no, you weren't. You weren't. You dropped out almost after the first class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, we don't do the same, right?
No, not those wrongs. Paying money, those wrongs.
Right. Oh, you're paying money. Yeah, that's true. Every time you have to repeat a course, you gotta pay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that means you should pass it. All right. So this is the marking structure here, and there is a rubric here that shows you how things are put out. So again, gives you more information as to what we're looking for in terms of the response to the question. All right, gives you a lot more detail. All right, so the journal assignment, 20%. So students are required to select an article no older than 6 months. Of course, why no older than 6 months is because if it's older than that, it tends to be irrelevant or things have changed. And it could be either local, regional, or international sources, and conduct an in-depth analysis using a question guide that is down below. The article must address at least one major topic or concept covered in the course content. All right. Your solution for each of the guided questions should be no more than 250 words. So we're looking at, there's a number of questions you have to answer, which you shouldn't exceed about 250, 300 words for that. But don't kill yourself. I'm not going to punish you for exceeding word limits if that actually comes up. All right. Again, we require APA format citation. And again, I've put back the link here for the The MS Word citation methodology, again, it's repeated simply because of thing. And of course, the all Purdue is also here as well. Another link to help you in terms of how to do citation. It has to be made in a soft copy. Again, it could be Word or PDF. Those are the two formats that should work in terms of it. And again, you have to submit it through Turnitin. We'll go to the e-classroom and look at that. And we're looking for a similarity score of no more than 15%. Generally, because the questions that are asked in this case tend to be very reflective in nature, this one doesn't have too much problems in terms of citation, but the individual assignment has some challenges, so we'll see that. So again, the same naming protocol for your file, except that this one would not be assignment 1, will be article journal assignment version 1, or some combination of that. Why I want you to name your files in a particular manner is that they need to be distinguishable from the other assignments that you do. And I want your name attached to it so I know it's yours. All right. These are the learning outcomes associated with it, and these are the questions that guide your thing. So question 1, what is the article about? That's basically a summary of what the article is about. Identify 2 economic concepts discussed in the course thus far. Actually, it's supposed to be, yeah, right. 2 economic concepts discussed. Hold on. One major topic or concept. All right, so let's reduce this. So it's incorrect here. It should be 1 economic concept. So I'll make a change on the original document and get that fixed. So you have to identify at least one economic concept that is dealt with in the class that is addressed by the article. Define the concept and explain how the concept is addressed in the article or related into the article, providing examples from the article to support your explanation and so on. So this is the crux of the whole thing, the concept, the economic concept that the article is really referring to. Discuss 1 positive and 1 negative effect of the event or the concept or the issue that you're dealing with. Describe 2 positive and 2 negative. That 1 positive and 1 negative being discussed that will affect you as an individual. Describe 2 positive and 2 negatives that will affect a household. Describe 1 positive and 1 negative effect that will affect the country as a whole. And answer the question, do you think that government needs to intervene, or good government intervention is necessary in addressing this issue? And you have to describe why the government wants to why the government why they should go about doing that, likely government intervention. Describe 1 likely outcome if government intervenes. All right, so respond to questions. And then here, question 7, describe 3 measures that you would recommend the government implement to deal with the issue or the problem being discussed in the article. All right. Now, see this here, please ensure that your lecturer approves your article before starting this assignment. So it means that the article has to be, now, you can in fact, students can use the same article if we find an article, because what I do is if I find articles that are interesting, I might copy them and paste them into the WhatsApp chat group and say, hey guys, this is a good article to utilize for the journal assignment and so on. So you're free to use or share articles with each other in the e-classroom or in the WhatsApp chat, so that because it doesn't matter if you all tackle a similar article, because your responses are not likely to be stolen from each other. All right. So again, this is the marking scheme here, and this is the rubric that details how Each question is going to be scored. All right, this one's a little more detailed there, primarily for the discussion, and you have a couple marks for content layout, language usage, and citation. So that has to talk to the amount of work that you're dealing with in those areas. All right, any questions on that assignment? On the journal assignment? All right, moving along. Let's go to the unit quizzes. As I said, there are 8 quizzes throughout the entire course. I'm taking the 7 course. Yes, somebody wants to ask a question.
Yes, Ivor.
Hi,
I have a
Ivan.
few Hi. Okay, so I have a few quick questions. Now,
No
this is
problem.
my first time. This is my first time engaged in a course online, a
Right,
degree online, fully online, right? In 2014, we had classroom interactions, etc. So my
right.
question is, the e-classroom is open all the time, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I can the resource materials that you had listed
They're
at the
all on the
beginning of
e-classroom.
right. So I'm pulling my information from that, and I can start do my research and start this paper like now.
Yep. Except that at 8 o'clock tonight, if you've
Mm-hmm.
checked your email, remember they're doing an update on the system.
Yes.
So 8 o'clock tonight, that is going to go down. And
Okay.
wouldn't come back
Also,
up until Friday. But generally,
okay.
the
Also,
e-classroom is open all the time for you to work at your own time frame and convenience.
okay. Also, how does the timings 5:30 to 8 fit in the whole scheme of things? Meaning, is
On,
that time only relevant for group and
yeah,
for
it's
your
only
interaction?
relevant. It's only relevant. Is, hold a sec. Sorry. It's only relevant when we call a session, but it's also relevant if you want to meet with me. That's a great time to meet,
Okay.
right? On an
Okay.
independent basis. Um,
Okay.
so because other than that, I'm teaching classes in other time frames. But
Okay.
if we can't meet in a different time frame, when I'm free and when you're free, that kind of stuff, but to do a one-to-one, you can just
Okay. And
message
one more
me on what,
question.
yeah,
Sorry.
on WhatsApp. You could always do that too.
Okay.
Stacy,
And
you have,
one more question.
go
One
ahead.
more
All right.
question quickly. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but
No, no, no. That's good.
normally my experience is having my paper done in Word. I also want to ask about your marking scheme too. My paper is normally written in Word. Is it the same thing? And then you upload it to
Yeah, yeah.
the
You can upload Word
page.
documents to the e-classroom.
And another thing is the marking scheme. I know, I'm so programmed with essay type. Is it that each question is essay type?
Well, you
Coming
can,
from an associate level, you will
right.
have the number of
So
words
yes,
expected, etc.
but it's what we call structured essays.
Okay.
So you're breaking up your response as if you're writing an essay, but you're breaking up your response into different sections that specifically answer the specific question from that piece.
Okay, thank you. Understood.
All right. Okay. See, I see Stacy George has her hand up.
Yes, so it was pertaining to the word limit as what she just asked about the 250. It was saying
Yeah.
250 per question, but it's overall.
Yeah. No, no. 250 per question per part. Huh? So if you go back to the question here, there's 7 parts to the question, right? So we're saying each part should be no more than 250 words. So overall, you're looking at, you know, possibly 1,500 words altogether.
Okay,
All
I
right.
suppose it
Now
was just
some parts will take 250 words, or it'll take a lot less. Because doing a summary, for example, might take you about 50, 60 words. All right. So overall, what I'm trying to say is, what we're trying to indicate to you is that your overall assignment shouldn't be too long. It shouldn't be drawn on and that kind of stuff. But as I said before, I'm not going to deduct marks or punish anybody for exceeding those word limits. Okay, it's just to give you a guide as to the amount of of detail that we're looking for in the response. That makes sense, Stacy?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I know that some questions will be shorter to
Yeah,
the
some
response.
questions are shorter, and even in the individual assignment, the one before, some of the responses are a little shorter, some are a little more involved, a little longer. Um, and you know, you'd have to play it by ear. So overall, the word limitation is related to the level of detail that you're going to be putting into the response. All right. So some questions call for more detail, others not as much. And I'll try to help and guide you in relation to that and let you know, okay, this does not have enough, and or this requires a little more, and so on. All right. I'll try to be, help you over that. Okay, so the unit quizzes. We're on to that now. I can move on to that.
Yes,
Stacey?
sir.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes,
All right. So
yes.
as I said before, there are 8 quizzes, of which I'm taking the 7 best. The quizzes are timed, so you have 20 minutes per quiz, and it's made up of 10 multiple choice questions that you have to answer. Now, the question, you have at least 2 attempts per quiz. Now, the questions are pulled from a question bank, which means when you finish your first attempt and you want to try it again, and I'll give you a strategy for that, it is not necessarily going to pull the very same questions, but it'll pull similar questions from a bank to make up the 10. And it's going to shuffle between questions, and it's also going to shuffle the placement of the answers in the choices. So, kind of minimize the repetition of content kind of thing. All right. Now, um, my advice to you is go through the content of the unit and make sure you feel fairly confident with the information, that you understood it. Attempt the quiz and look at the result that you get as an indication as the level of understanding that you have. If you get, you know, 10 out of 10, then you know you're good. All right, which is the ideal circumstance. If you get 8 and 9, then you're good. But if you start to get 7 and less, chances are you don't quite get the information, which means you should pause, go over the material, and then attempt the quiz again. Don't just go and do the quizzes and use up all your attempts in one go. Use it as a building block, if you understand what I mean. Go through the material, attempt the quiz, and if you find that the score is not to your satisfaction, it should indicate to you that you need to review the material before you attempt the quiz a second time or third time, as the case might be. That makes sense? That's the strategy I'm talking about. And it's always going to be multiple choice questions, okay? Okay. All right. So what I also did is I think well, I'll show you when we started good. So basically what I did is all the quizzes are open. They open from the 7th, which is today, and they will all close at the 24th of December. If for some reason something goes wrong with your attempted quizzes and stuff like that, let me know, and I'll have to try and help you in relation to it. But I'll not I would don't really want to be opening up the quizzes further than the 24th, because you need to learn to budget your time frame and that type of stuff. But if you are having sort of like you're in the middle of a quiz and you get a power outage or stuff like that, let me know, and I could probably try and do something. But we increase the amount of attempts for you for that quiz for you to try again, kind of situation. Just kind of even the playing field out. That makes sense? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So this brings us into the final assessment, which really falls into the group project. So students will be formatted into small groups of 4 to 5 persons, and you will complete a country analysis and a country assigned to you by answering a list of questions below. Again, the same thing. You have to put together, in this case here, a combined document in the form of a publication, a paper. And again, we need the same citation methodology. We need the 15% similarity rating. And I've put in all the links there for the usual thing: title page, page numbers, table of contents, all of those things. Once your assign, well, this in particular is going to be a long assignment, so I expect that your assignment will have title pages, table of contents, page numbers, appropriate pagination requirements across the board. With group projects, since you're doing a country analysis, I expect there'll be images and maybe pictures of things from the country that you're doing research about that you're going to come up with and put on into the thing. You use double line space. All the assignments require double line spacing, guys, and at least a very clear font times Roman numeral 12. We're in some thick classes, so I don't need to be stepping up to my old spectacles, which is this one here. It's because it hurts when I'm reading things that get too small and when they're not in double line spacing. So please remember to do those things for me as well. All right, so the questions that are going to be asked are these here. So you have these 6 questions that are guiding your analysis of the country. Plus, with that, you'd also be doing an introduction and a conclusion. So as part of your introduction, you have an overview. You should be explain things about the demographics, its location, its size, its culture, language, population, type of government, current leadership, interesting things and interesting facts about the countries. And as I said, you're allowed to use diagrams and pictures and so on. All right, and then you have these questions that you're asked to evaluate about the country. So what type of economic system does the country have? Explain 3 benefits and 3 drawbacks of this system to that country. So that's to be specific to the country itself. Discuss how this economic system allocates resources, providing 2 examples of its impact on demand decisions and 2 examples on supply decisions for firms and consumers in this country. So it can't be the general advantages and disadvantages you find in the textbook, but you have to be able to correlate what you see in the textbook with the advantages and disadvantages that you research on the country itself. What is the dominant type of firms that exist in the country? That means, and provide examples, 2 examples per type identified. So you might find that there are a lot of different types of firms, and when we say types of firms, it means, are they sole traders, are they partnerships, are they companies, that kind of stuff. So what is the most dominant form of firms that take place? You might find that private companies might be by the thing, and I want to get a couple of examples of those from the country that you're looking at. You might find that different segments of the economy, so the manufacturing sector, if they have a manufacturing sector, might be companies, but when you look at the agricultural sector, you might find that it's family-oriented farms, which come like a sole proprietors type of thing. So you give examples of those things. Now, question 4 is related to question 3, is what are the dominant market structures that exist in the economy? For those of you who have done economics before, you'd understand that market structures fall in a spectrum between the theoretical position of a perfect market to a monopoly market, and in between you have imperfect markets, you have duopolies, you have monopsonies, you have oligopolistic competition. So when you do market structures, it's important to recognize that in the economy or the country that you're looking at, you may find that there are dominant types of market structures in different parts of the economy. So in the manufacturing sector, let's say like in Trinidad, if we look at the manufacturing sector, we might say that is fairly competitive, so it's like imperfect competition. We know in the service sector, like what people were talking about with hairdressers and pharmacies and things like that, you might find that that is imperfect market. But when we come to banks, that's an oligopoly. And then if we go to water and power, those are monopolies. So that's in terms of Trinidad, but it may not be the same with the other countries that you're researching. All right. Describe the impact that this type of market structure has on output prices and profitability, providing two examples of its impact on consumers and two examples of its impact on producers. So you need to evaluate the country in particular, what the impact of that is on the consumers and producers. So generally, based upon the type of market that they're in, consumers either benefit from the competition or they don't benefit from or they don't benefit from a lack of competition. That is where there is a limited the amount of people or firms operating, and what impact is it likely to have on firms. And then we asked a question here in relation to the impact of the coronavirus on firms and or households in the country. So this will eventually change when something more critical comes up, but we have to look at this because we're looking at for positive and negative impacts of the pandemic that affected the country to look at. So those are the questions included with the introduction, and of course, you have to do a conclusion as well when you're doing this. So the written project content is 60%, organization is 20%, citation 10, language 10. Now from that, so that's that. This is kind of the layout here now of how the written project is going to be marked. This is the rubric for it. All right. The presentation is going to be a 20 to 25-minute presentation. I would say up to 30 minutes maximum, but from each group presenting their findings from the research that you did. And in essence, basically, as with all presentations, you'd start with an introduction where you introduce all your members of your group and you do an overall introduction to the country. Then you begin answering each of the questions as you move through, and then you make a conclusion statement and wrap up. Those what we're looking at is 60% for the content that you present, 25% for your presentation skills, and citation 15% for the use and evidence of citation in your PowerPoint presentations and so on. Pay evaluation, again, now all citation is APA format, right? Peer evaluation is utilized only in the sense where a group is having difficulties. The reason why I want to use it only in the sense where a group is having problems is peer evaluation tends to be very punitive in nature, and we want to avoid having problems in our groups, so that basically we want to avoid that element from coming up. All right. Okay, and there's a marking scheme here that I'll be using when I'm scoring this. And at the end of your presentations, I'll give you your scores here. And your scores here usually indicate, well, using it, this is the peer evaluation, by the way, in terms of how it looks. But it's available as a download on the eClassroom page as well. What was I going to say? Right. So usually your performance at the presentation level is indicative of what the project looks like, unless there's a big problem with the written paper that comes up. But generally, when I mark the content of the presentation, it should give you a very good idea of what your written project should look like and the kind of scores that you're going to generate coming out of it. All right, so that's it for all of the overview of this document, and this is the last page basically of that document. So any questions? I mean, there are or should be questions. Yes, Bishop.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask, just like the individual stuff that we have to write for you out about how you will look over it and help us, would that be for the group as well, or that would it would more lean to us finding out for ourselves and figuring out stuff for ourselves?
Well, I mean, the first thing that you should do is really look among yourselves, from peer to peer, to be able to help yourselves. But if you're running across big issues, feel free to contact me, and I could give you a hand with things once I can You know, once I see it's fair, it doesn't give you an advantage over.
Advantage. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
So it means that yes, I will help, but within the limitations of what is fair. All right. But generally, it's about clarification of information and activities, that kind of stuff that you're looking at, more anything, or you know, kind of getting a grip on the whole situation that you're looking at. All right. So now we at 7:30, so we know that this classroom is going to shut down at 8 o'clock. So let's go through this quickly. So we talked about already these textbooks. They are downloadable, so I'd expect that you download them. The course outline with course schedule is the same document we're looking at. Hopefully you've downloaded that already. This is what I talked about with the group pay evaluation form. We're not going to use that unless we need to. All right, this is the link for the e-classroom. Sorry, not the e-classroom. This is the link for our meetings, Microsoft Teams, and this is the link for the chat. This is the forum discussion, and the same questions that are and instructions is there is listed here for you to see. So you don't have to be going back and forth. When you're ready to submit, you just click on this, and you'd see at the end here, add new topic, and once you click on that, you should be able to think. And once that's done, then it starts kind of setting up a sort of link for the other people as they start to move on from that. So this is the forum discussion here. Below that is the assignment submission portals. So these here are the Turnitin. This is where you're going to submit your assignment to the Turnitin portal for you to be able to see what your similarity ratings would be. Now, when that happens, if I find your similarity ratings are high, I tend to kind of go in here and have a look at your assignments, actually. So this is the point at which when you submit through here, I can give you some feedback and let you know, okay, yeah, this should so on. This needs some work, that needs some work, that kind of stuff, and help you with your similarity ratings. Now you'd notice a disparity here. It says that the due date is 26th of October, but I've put into this the due date as the 24th of December. Now, I'm giving you all a bit of a break here that I'm saying by the 26th of October, you should be finished with this assignment. But I'm not going to close the similarity report until the 24th of December. So just in case somebody's running late or behind, when you submit, I will know the dates will come up. All right, so I kind of cutting you all a little slack immediately in terms of that area, and you'd see that for almost all of the assignments. So the same thing happens with the journal submission. The same thing when you do that assignment, you name it and you put it in here for your similarity report. It's due on the 9th, but I put the due date as the 24th to give you that kind of leeway just in the event that you kind of fallen behind the schedule. Okay, so that's my thing with that. So remember, we're looking at your similarities being no more than 15% similarity across the board. And that includes the group project. Down here is your final submission posting. So once you go through here and you get your submission, your similarity ratings down, you can then submit your final copies, your final versions here into the things. And again, the due dates are identified on the thing. Do not submit the PowerPoint or the group project until after the presentations, because the point I'd like to do is I'd like to use your presentations to kind of evaluate what you did and give you some guidance as to how to fix things if things went wrong. If things are okay, then I say, okay, fine, fix up, just start submitting. And then finish your element. But the idea is that you should finish the write-up element and then extract your PowerPoint, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. Okay, so that's how the submission pieces work here, and the due dates are identified there. Now, this is the first unit, Unit 1, Introduction. What is economics? What is it? So these are links to YouTube channels with videos for you to look at, to get the understanding. So you look at these videos. This is the readings here, I have a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. This one is with narration, and this one is without narration. All right, that you can download and look at. I recommend, because this forces you to do a download. All right, so once you did the download, it will launch into PowerPoint, and you'll get to go through the information. Um, and it goes through that whole thing there for you to read up on it. Okay. Again, I would say that you might want to. So these are the readings here for the John Sloman textbook and the Green Launch Paro, the page numbers for exactly, which are again available from the books up, the textbooks up here. All right, so download your information for there. Now, basically, this is how all of the units are built. There are YouTube links or videos to look at. There's the reading. There's the PowerPoint presentation that I did, and then the quiz here. You'll notice that the quiz is listed as closing on 24th of December. When you go into the quiz, if you click on it, you see there are no attempts here. I said, hey, I gave you 3 attempts for the first quiz. All right. If I click on attempt quiz now, start attempt, this is what the question looks. Every question is going to come up on a separate page. This is the guidelines we've been given for setting up quizzes. So economists study how people make something, and I know that it's this. There's a check feature that shouldn't really be there. Go to question 2. Which of the following is a normative statement? So you need to understand what is a normative statement as opposed to a positive statement. Normative statements are statements based upon people's point of view. Let's see, and they're not testable. Anybody seeing a normative statement there? Then 3 and 4 and 10 and so on, and that's how it goes. And then once you're finished, you finish attempt, you click on finish attempt, and it gives you an overall score of what you're going to do. It'll tell you how much time you have left. I have to do that because I'm looking at that. That's what it's going to look like here. It's going to give you a feedback as to what is right and what is wrong, but it won't tell you what the correct questions were. All right, that only happens after the class closes. All right, so, and every unit is set up like that. Some units, based upon the nature of the information, you'd see more videos as opposed to this one, unit 2, you have this and you have that. Simple, and the readings. Consumer behavior is a bit trickier. So you have the PowerPoint presentation here. There's a recording of me teaching a class in the past. You could look at that as my explanation of what things happen. These are the readings. These are some additional videos with images, and this is the quiz here. So again, you see the same format across the board. This is demand and supply. This is one of my old videos, which I went through the content with the PowerPoint, so you could look at that. These are the readings. These are demand and supply videos, of which there are quite a few to go through, and then you have the quiz. So again, it's information available in different formats for you to be able to attempt the information. Elasticity of demand and elasticity of supply. So this is all of the various forms of elasticity, coefficient summary of elasticity calculation, reviewed questions, and of course the quiz. Then theory of the firm 1, readings, PowerPoint presentation, videos. All of these are videos. Then the unit quiz. Then unit 7, theory of the firm part 2. Sorry, theory of the firm 2 part 1. So you have a whole set of video. My presentation here, PowerPoint, lots of presentations, and unit quiz. Then there's a set. This is the extra quiz. This is only about the graphing situations. So theory firm graphing, profit and loss positions, and a quiz on this, which is specifically with diagram, with So you do that. Now, at the end of the day, I take the 7 best outcomes that will come up in the thing. All right. Okay, so any questions that you all want to ask here? My view looks a little different than your view. All right. Yes, anybody? Questions? Go ahead. I
Ivor.
see a hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, me again. So
Fine.
that all the information needed for this is actually on those links. So there's no book by it.
There's no book. There is a textbook, but the textbook is also available on the e-classroom. Remember? At the very top here, these are the textbooks here. So you just need to download them and you have them there for you.
Wonderful.
Right? So each unit here has the readings from those textbooks listed in terms of page number, chapter. These videos are additional information for you to look at, and I have a PowerPoint presentation that goes through the same content. So you have multiple methods of getting the information. The textbook, my PowerPoint presentations, and videos that help to add additional information to clarify things. So once you go through that, that's what I said, go through those things, attempt the quiz. And when you attempt the quiz, if you don't like the score that you got, it may mean that you didn't quite understand some of the concepts. Go back over the areas that were tricky for you, that you didn't quite get, that you got wrong in the assignment, so you could take note of it when you got that. Remember, I had the quiz and it gives you the final rundown of all the questions you got right and wrong. You can look at the type of question that you got wrong. That'll tell you the area that didn't work out for you, and you can organize from there. I will be submitting or putting on the e-classroom at the bottom here. I'll put the class recordings here, just underneath here. So like, for instance, the class recording for today will come up here so that you could quickly go to check and see, and I'll date it and say, this is the introductory class. I'll list it and date it so that way, if you miss a session and there's a recording for it, we will be organizing and putting the links up there. But I won't interfere with these areas. I want to leave them as clear as they are. And some teachers would have, closed off or from your view all of the units and say, okay, you're only working on unit 1 and 2, and then they'll have the others closed off from visibility. I think you all are adults. You all can move as fast as you want to. I want to have everything available for you for the entire period of the semester. All right, so that way you can work at a speed and a pace that suits you. And you don't have to wait for me to tell you to go and do the work. I will be checking in with you in relation to that. All right, any questions? All right, so we have one more thing to do, and I don't think we necessarily need to record it, but I'll leave the recording running just in case. All right, we need to finalize a groups in the class. Now we have absent one. Let me sort of put this in play here. 1, 2. All right, so we seem to have 2 people absent, but I have a sneaky suspicion that some people kind of fell out the class. See, yeah, because we only have 22 students here right now, so it means that there's somebody who's absent. So what I want to do is copy this. I'll go to a new page and paste that here. All right. Okay. So we want to create groups. Actually, there's an easier way for me to do this. All right. So can actually do this in the e-classroom here. always have problems remembering this. Must be something on this side here. All right, so alright, so some people have never come to class yet. M. Here we go. Groups. All right, so we want to create. I think I want to use. There's 25 people in class, so we're gonna create 5 groups. All right, so initially we'll call group 1. Save change. All right, create group 2. I'll do this quickly because as I said at all right, so we're creating 5 groups and we're going to put 5 people per group. All right, so the first thing I want to do is those people who indicated that previous information about economics, I want to put them in a group by themselves to kind of lead off the group. Let's see who had identified themselves as having previous information on economics. Come identify yourselves. Don't be chicken now. Devnish, you had some previous experience, right?
Nah, sir, nah, I wouldn't consider that experience.
Oh no, I'm talking about like in secondary school.
No, not in secondary school, no.
John Ramkisun. Everybody playing everybody playing what about Danny Ram?
No.
No? Kelly?
Still me,
Who's me?
Alia Rampasad.
Alia? Okay, so I'm gonna put you
Yeah.
into group 1. Alright,
Okay.
so you're gonna be separated there. So group 2, I want somebody who has some background. Bino, you had some background? Bishop, come on guys, volunteer now. Don't be afraid. It's not that you're gonna end up with all the work to do, It just means that I wanna kind of distribute you all among the groups so that there's some parity in the group activities. Well,
Amy Mohan.
Mohan. God, this doesn't sort in that. What Mohan? Amy? All right. Let me add you to group 2. So as Amy's group, let's go to group 3. Anybody else wants to remind me of who had previous? Bernard?
Sanjay Ramlakan.
Ranlakan. Sanjay? All right, cool. Let's add you to group 4. No, group 3. Back to groups. Let's go to group 4 and see who else had some. Miss Mohammed, you had any? Michaela?
So Anuradha.
Anuradha Ramjog. All right.
Yeah.
Group 4. And last group would be group 5. Anybody else wants to volunteer? Nothing. Jade wasn't. George. Nobody wants to volunteer. Gabrielle, you had some background.
No, sir, none.
Selena.
Male who had a impressive background, you know. Can't
Who's that?
remember his name. There was a male, I remember, a male person, and his background was quite impressive.
Who's
I
that?
can't remember. He needs to speak up.
He needs to speak up.
Yes.
Was it St. John? The Marine?
No, he wasn't.
Wasn't alright, wasn't him? Simangal, was it Alex?
I can't remember his name, but I remember
I wonder if
listening to his credentials and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
okay.
Maya, I see your hand up.
Yes, sir. I did economics were only at a Form 5 level.
Right, that's who I'm looking for. Looking for you. All right. So Maya, I'll put you in on top of group. All right, with Maya. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to assign the other folks. I'm gonna just click auto create. No, I can't do that. I'll just undo the stuff. So group 1, who do I add and remove? Who wants to go with Miss Rampasad? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Because I'll just click arbitrarily and put people in.
So I'll join.
I'll go. I'll
Who's
join.
I?
Ivor Prophet.
Tyrese
Prophet,
Bishop.
Bishop, Queen. Nobody else wants to go with her?
I'll go.
Who's I?
Sakaya, sorry.
To what?
Sakaya. Purcell, yeah.
Purcell? Alright, okay. Alright, let me leave that. That gives you 4 people so far. Let's go back to groups. Go to group 2. That's with Amy Mohammed. So who wants to go with Amy?
Excuse me, I will suggest we mix. We have a few. We don't want to group it all females or all males because the gender perspective is always valued.
I would say that's a good idea, but it doesn't always work that way. All right, so let's put Kelly in with Amy Branston.
Yeah, goodbye, Isaac Dusa.
Isaac. Devnish. All right. All right. Let me just stop there for the hour. Go to the next group. Back to groups. 4, 3. Add and remove. So what I'm trying to do is not put people who are currently in groups. This thing here. I know it might be a bit small, guys, but I need to make it so I can see what's going on here. All right, Kirsten Black is not in a group yet. 1. Danny Ram is not in a group yet. Stacy. All right, so let me add those for now into group 4. That's group 5. No, that was group 3. Group 4 with Anuradha Ramjag. All right, these people are signed already. Miss Mohammed. John Ram John is not in a group yet. St. Vincent, sorry, St. John. Let me add those for now. Back to groups, go to group 5. Add and remove Jada. Now Jada Gordon's not here yet, so we have to look out for. Nicole is here. Trying to do that balancing thing that my friend was saying. Alex. All right, so there are 5 people in group 5. Let's go back to groups. Group 1. Nayak has not been assigned, so I'll add her. Back to groups. Group 2. Prem Chan. Add to group. Back to groups. Salinas. Alright, back to groups. Add and remove here would be Christine. I think that's it. Yep, everybody has 5 people per group. All right, overview. All right, so let me see if this is something that I can put into the class chat. Right, so these are your groupings here. This a little bit. Oh, crap. All right, it's the same thing again. All right, so hopefully you should be able to identify yourselves and your groupings. So group 1 is Bishop, Braffett, Nayak, Purcell, and Rampasad. Group 2, Kelly Ali, Branston Francois, Devnish Isaac, Amy Mohammed, and Selena Premchan. Group 3, Kirsten Black Bernard, Priti Daniram, Stacy George, Sanjay Ramlakan, and Selena Ramlochan. Group 4, Michaela Mohammed, and Radha Ramjug, John Ramkisoon, Vincent St. John, and Christine Sudan. And Group 5, Maya Bino, Jada Gordon, and Jada hasn't arrived in class yet, so we might have to reach out to her. Nicole Jasan, Alex Simangal, and Tashara Singh. Now, from my information, the persons who are absent today are Gordon, Jada Gordon, and Selena Ramlochan. They didn't make it today, so we're going to have to look out and reach for them. So the group that has Miss Ramlochan, can you identify yourselves? Miss Ramlochan is in group 3 with Kristen, Pretty, Stacy, and Sanjay. Okay, somebody's clicking in. All right, welcome back, Stacy. All right, so
Hey, I just got bumped off.
yeah, it'll happen time again. All right, we only have about 5 minutes left. If IT decided they're gonna shut down. All right, so Christy. All right, so this is what I want the groups to do. I need the groups to meet and with each other and come back to me with 3 countries that you would like to research. Leave out Trinidad, okay? Well, leave out Trinidad and Tobago, I should say. Look at finding a list of about 3 countries a piece. So I'd recommend you jump into WhatsApp and meet with each other. Probably set up a little subgrouping for yourselves and have a chat with each other tonight, and come back to me with a list of 3 classes, identifying yourself as group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and group 5 with in terms of 3 countries you'd like to conduct research about. And again, really what you're looking for is people who are countries that are of interest to you for one reason or the other, that you'll be curious to find out more about it. All right. Any questions on that? I want to see the responses for that coming up in the WhatsApp chat, and I will update the e-classroom with your selections. Is that, guys, okay? You all understand what I'm asking for, because we only have about 3 minutes before the e-classroom shuts down.
I guess so, yeah.
Right, everybody is in the WhatsApp chat who's here at this point in time, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
Good.
sir. So are we creating different WhatsApp group for discussion?
Yes, I would encourage you all to set up a WhatsApp chat group for your group separately. All right.
Okay, man.
But I would like each group to report back to me in this chat with the country selections that they make. I don't know. Should I ask you all to do it this evening? Well, let me put it this way. At least before the next class.
Yes, sir. So
all right,
give us
before
time
next
to understand.
Right? So
yes, sir.
First thing would be to communicate with each other. For those people who have absent people, what I want you to do is to email them. And for you to email them, you'll need, so group 3 needs Ms. Ramlo Chan's student ID number. And her student ID number is 75407. Oh, by the way, John Ramkisoon, hang back after I finish. I need to talk to you about some things wrong with your e-class, your email address. So Selena Ramlochan, let me just copy that. Selena Ramlochan.
So sorry to cut you across, but next class will be next book class or next class we're meeting up.
Nah, I will want to meet with you all
To discuss it.
next week to get some follow up on this.
Okay,
You
okay,
see,
cool. So we have in a class then.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as long, because I really want to follow up with you with what's going on with the group activity, because I don't think I might be able to finish with you guys what I want to do tonight. The other person who's absent is Jada. So you'd see in the chat I put in the person's I think this is her. Student ID. Wait, I did select that correctly. Hold a second there. All right, so Jada Gordon. To communicate with them, if you remember, it's your student ID at my.costat.edu.tt. So try and get onto these people. These were the only two people that didn't make it today, at least who aren't here at the moment. Who else might be absent? Right? Yeah, somebody is still in and out. Kelly is here. Who's that way? So the reason why I want you to have at least 3 countries is to avoid duplication with other groups. That makes sense? So look off the beaten chart. Yes, Gabriel? See a thumb going up. Yeah. Try and choose some countries that you're always curious to find out more about. Besides places like the United States and England and Canada and all them places, I just get bored in them places, right? Try and find some exotic places and find out some more about them, and do some research about them. Cool? All right. Stay away from war-torn areas like the Ukraine. Um, and what you want to look at really is how accessible and how reliable the data that you find for those countries is going to be. All right. Okay. I think I kind of come into the close of things for this evening. Anybody has any other question they would like to ask for clarification purposes or just for your information purposes? And like what Ivor is saying, no question is a stupid question, okay? So don't be afraid.
Shouldn't we understand? Sorry, shouldn't we understand the question and have some reading done before we choose countries that will have information that might be relevant?
That would be ideal, but I don't think you have enough time to
Okay.
work about it.
No
But yes, you
problem.
can in fact try and see what kind of data you're getting. So
Like
you
regional would be okay.
yeah, do a quick search kind of thing. Do a quick search
Okay.
and see what comes
Yes.
up. All right, and see what happens or how easy it is. Yes, Nayak, see your hand is up.
For the graphs, right? How we had to do the graphs? Because I saw some of the questions we had to do a graph.
Well, you don't have to go and draw it. Let's put it that way. You could download a graph already pre-drawn from Google Images or something like that, but just cite the source of it. That's all you need to do.
Ah, okay.
All right, so you don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. You can just download it and cite. Make sure you use the APA format for citation properly and utilize it in the response that you're working on for it. All right. Any other questions? Anybody else? I think maybe by next week, I'll have a class next week. I'll message you all. But remember, from next week, we're looking at 5:30 starts, not 5 o'clock, to give those people who are working time to get home. Next week, I'll call a short session with you guys. It won't be the 3-hour session like what we're doing today, but just a short session to kind of tie things up. By then, maybe you might have more things you want clarification on. So we'll do that as an information exchange situation next week. How's that sound? And you might have, more time to go through things and see, what you don't get, what you get, that kind of stuff. That sounds good. I see Tyree's thumbs up. All right, guys. Okay, so let's call it Jorge for the evening. Welcome to Economics. I hope you have a good time. My job is to facilitate your learning, so don't be afraid to reach out and reach out for me to give you help, either as a class, as a group, or as an individual. Just reach out. All right, that's what my job is. My job is here to help facilitate your learning and more importantly, your success. All right, we good to go there?
Yes,
sir.
All right, good. So I'm gonna stop the recording, and in the meantime, you guys could leave.